All right. Well, Peloton has been a downward trend in all fairness the past few months. I think, even with the SGO, you should go ahead and listen to it, Coconuts. But this past week, they've had earnings call, right? And maybe I can just tell a little bit of what happened during that time.
Oh, they had earnings
call. They had earnings, yes. They had an earnings call. Cool. And they actually... so one of the things with the earnings call is that they added fewer subscribers than expected, right? So they didn't hit their targets. So that was one negative thing. However,
the Netflix
they focused... Yes. No, I thought Netflix was expected, but their forecast was the issue.
Oh, yeah, expected.
This
yes. This one,
yes.
Even the past they couldn't hit. Just terrible.
Yes, correct. Even the Met couldn't hit, right? And it's actually the complete opposite, because in their forecast, they're saying everything is going to be great. This is effectively what they forecasted for 2022. And what they have actually said as well is that they are relooking at the whole structure of how Peloton is run and looking to cut costs and therefore increase rev. This is effectively, something that they said in earnings call. And really look at
they
how
were hiring
Peloton is being sold.
or something like that, right?
Yeah. As a consultancy.
Cool. Yeah, they're spending money to save money. Love it.
To a consultancy, right? Yes.
Yes.
Great. And however, right, I think one thing that I want to note here is that there was an employee memo that went public on Thursday, which was also actually the day of their earnings call. This employee memo, right, says that Peloton is halting production of bikes and treadmills, as well as consider layoffs. Okay. Right. And this could
that
also, yes, it doesn't, right? It was an employee memo that went down, and that actually saw the price tank from 32 to 23, right? Within I think a day. It was insane. Then the CEO came back and said, no, these are all false rumors, that nothing happens. And then it bounced back up. Right. So it's honestly, I don't know what's happening in that company right now, but we have these employee memos that's coming through. And then we have the CEO trying to say, no, that's not happening. But we are relooking at our business model and trying to close down stores. And I believe they're trying to go for more e-commerce. One of the things that they have done is raise their price of the bikes and treadmills. Right?
Wait, mainly they just cut them like last quarter?
Yeah, they raised it back up because now they're including shipping fee, assembling fee, the whole works.
Oh, come on, what are they doing?
Yes, exactly my point. They're cutting, they're increasing, they're hiring a consultancy to do something for them. Employee memos are going out talking about layoffs. So I'm not too sure what's happening inside. I don't know where the proper news is, but all I know is it is in shambles. It's really what I feel from the outside, right? They don't necessarily know what they're doing. They're trying something to try and make it work. They were market movers, if I'm not mistaken, right? In this bike treadmill space and the subscription space. And that's actually really, really good. But they have lost, for me, they've lost that track. And mainly also because there are tons of competitors out there. And I read a memo early today, just before we recorded, saying that some of the investors and some of the shareholders want to oust the CEO because apparently for misuse,
fair enough.
He doesn't know where the company direction is, etc., etc. And last thing to note, right? And I read this somewhere, so again, right, listeners out there, this is what I read, but please correct me if I'm wrong. But that the CEO, together with a few execs, sold their shares before the earnings call. Right?
Wait,
so
they can't do that unless it's pre-planned.
Maybe it was pre-planned. I'm not entirely sure.
But sorry. I think just maybe to put a bit of a point on this before people start screaming insider trading, because we don't want to make defamatory allegations.
Yes,
right?
Of course not. Yes,
most companies tend to have a blackout period before earnings naturally, right? And how these stock sales tend to occur is, well, they essentially file a plan like a few months in advance saying that we will sell, this number of shares at a certain date if a certain condition occurs, right? So it could be pre-planned. I mean, there's lots of ways to game it, right? So not saying that it's not a big sign, but, I think let's just be a bit more circumspect, right? I mean, and obviously insider selling, some people say that it's not a big indicator of anything. Fair enough, because you can sell for many reasons. But if people keep selling, they can't need that many houses, right? So there is a bit of a side. Oh, and if everybody sells at the same time, well, not everybody that wants to buy houses. So I think that taken together can be a bit more of a signal. Right? It's just the loss of confidence.
Yes, absolutely. The loss in confidence. Apologies if I said something wrong there, but yeah, it's probably pre-planned. You're right, Anthony. Thanks for correcting me there. But it was just when I read the news, I was like, "Whoa, what's happening?" That's effectively what happened this last few days, actually, with Peloton. Right? It's a massive mess. I do like their subscription model. I do like the idea of that subscription model, and I think that's something that they should be focusing on more than maybe even the hardware. Obviously, look at the operation margins and so on and so forth. I think they should be closing down all their stores, right? One of the things that they said during the earnings call was that they didn't expect COVID to take such a hit so quickly, especially when there was blackouts and people didn't go to their stores and so on and so forth. So they were bleeding quite a bit.
But that's hilarious, right? Because their entire model benefited from COVID. Without COVID, they would never have got such huge growth. People would have been stuck at home. They were a beneficiary of it. I mean, come on, right? To say now, 2 years after the fact that, oh yeah, sorry, we didn't expect stores to be closed, and therefore, we incurred more costs than we expected.
Yes. So I think for those out there. I think for those out there, this is going to be, I think, a bumpy ride for the next, 1, 2 months, 3 months, depending on how this whole CEO thing plays out. Confidence has to be coming back into Peloton, and into the company. But at the same time, are they, they were market leaders in terms of subscription based fitness, but now there's so many out there, right? You've got the YouTube fitness guys that effectively created their own app, and you can subscribe to them now. Right. You have gyms as well that also have an online system. So you can subscribe to a gym and not go to the gym, and you subscribe on the app, right? As a subscription.
Oh, okay.
Right. And Apple obviously used to be, right? Yes.
Yes.
Then also in Apple Fitness, you have that as well, right? They just started with, the Apple Watch. You get, I think, 6 months free or 3 months free, and they're really looking to grow that area of things. And I think last but not least, they also have an online personal trainer now. So you effectively put your phone there.
Fitness.
No, not Apple. Just as a competitor.
Okay.
What they do is they have an online personal trainer, and gyms actually have that. Or if you're your own personal trainer, you can subscribe to them, and they will actually be there as you do like the lifts and so on and so forth, which I think is really cool.
That's quite
But these are all the the
Yeah.
other business models that are happening in this space, right? So is Peloton subscription really going to thrive through all of that? Is a question I have.
Yeah, I don't know, right? I mean, my impression, I've never taken a Peloton class, thankfully. My impression of it was always that, it was like the selling point was the ability to build that community, right? Like the class teachers would know your name, you could track very well, even though it's remote, you can kind of get a sense of camaraderie. It's like you going to your F45 class, right? Which I know you just started.
Yes, I just started.
that whole sense of community, that whole CrossFit thing brought home into an app, onto a bike. I thought that was a selling point. And I don't think that has changed, right? And I don't think a lot of the competitors actually can recreate that experience as well, right? At least to the level that Peloton can. So, if that's true and that's the core, that's correct, maybe there's a turnaround story here, right? They have a good product. They can keep selling that product. They just need to figure out everything else around it, which is currently, I guess, kind of crap.
Yes, absolutely. I was just shocked with the news, and I thought I'd share it with the listeners as well.
Yeah. Well, what about you? I mean, cheap enough to buy? No?
Oh, that's a good question. For me, it's a no, right? Number one, I have no idea what's going to happen, because if there is an ousting or if there is a vote of more confidence in the execs, then I would expect it to drop some more. Whether it's a good price now.
They'll increase, right? Because the drag on the business is gone, right?
True.
Nobody likes him now.
True. That's why it's gone down. That's a good point. I mean, I'm going to look at it. It's already, so I've actually put that in my stock list, but I'm going to look at it to see because I need to see how they're pivoting and what they're pivoting to, right? If they are going to restructure the company. And for me, I don't want to risk it before, because I don't fully understand and trust them just yet.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to me, this is just a lost cause. I don't even want to look at it anymore. I'll just read the news. I'll ask you to update me.
Sure. No problem. No problem.